Welcome to the Paddle Like a Girl podcast. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Paddle Like a Girl podcast. Today I have Chelsea Murphy. Chelsea is an outdoor advocate and founder of She Colors Nature, a platform dedicated to inspiring more Black women and families to connect with nature. As a mother of three and passionate outdoor enthusiast, she works to make outdoor spaces more inclusive and welcoming. Chelsea shares her journey of raising children in the outdoors while advocating for diversity, representation, and access to adventure. Her work has been featured in various publications and podcasts, encouraging more women to find confidence, joy, and belonging in nature. Hello, Chelsea. Thank you for joining me.
Yay. Hi. Thank you. That was a beautifully said bio. I appreciate when people consolidate what I do into a cute little sentence.
It's hard. Like I've been following you for so long, and I know that you've done so many things and you're doing so many things. So it is very hard to, make a bio that fits into a short time frame. Like I'm sure I could go on and on about all of your accomplishments and the things you do. But yeah, I'm very excited to have you on the podcast.
Yes, thanks for having me.
So we'll jump right into it. I have a lot of things I want to talk to you about, but I'm very curious about what your relationship with the outdoors was growing up and how it has evolved over time.
Yeah, my relationship with the outdoors as a kid, I had five siblings growing up. We grew up between San Diego. We moved to Tacoma, Washington when I was like 8 years old. And so I had a pretty like normal childhood, air quotes, because we spent a lot of time playing outside. In sunny San Diego, it was always like beach trips and rollerblading outside with friends and the 90s girl dance group in the outside in front of someone's driveway. Like we were always just like outside dancing and singing, and weekends was like sun up to sundown. My mom was definitely like a go outside and don't come home until the sun goes down type of mom, and we just always lived in those types of neighborhoods. So I definitely had a well, and I think in recently I kind of started shifting the answer to this question, because I think it's really important to acknowledge that the ways that we get outside are adequate and enough, and it really doesn't matter what it looks like. But, my family did a really great job of allowing me to explore the outdoors and be in nature in accessible ways that we had. And so I spent a lot of time outside as a kid, but it didn't look like what it does now, like what you see on She Colors Nature, as far as the organized family camp trips and organized family snowboarding trips and,
Right.
hiking and doing all of the mountain biking and stuff. And so that didn't start happening until I moved to where we are now, where nature is a little more accessible to me on the day to day. And it's also a community, a town where everybody gets outside and everybody is doing these sports just to try and, stay in shape, stay mentally well. And yeah, that's just where we are. We don't live in a big city anymore. So I had a really great foundation to the outdoors as a kid. My parents did their best to giving me just like this sense of belonging in the outdoors. And, I always say I went with my white friends camping, and my white friends would invite me to go do stuff in the outdoors as I got older, but it wasn't something that we did together as a family very often.
Right. Okay. So the, I guess, more adventurous stuff kind of came a little bit later.
Yes, a lot later. I would say
Yeah.
my adventurous spirit and my, need to do more adventure sports or organized camping or hiking came after I had my own kids. And when I became a mom, I also moved to a really small mountain town. And I think those two things kind of happened very much at the same time. And so, I'm in this postpartum stage, and I'm kind of like in a new place where I don't really know anyone, and I have this baby child. And so I'm just like, everybody seems to be getting outdoors a lot, and I do enjoy nature. I do enjoy hiking, and so I started doing it with some friends here and there. And then, I always say hiking is like a gateway drug. It's like you do that, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, are those people mountain biking over there? That looks fun. And oh, I could take this class over here to learn how to snowboard. Oh, that looks kind of fun. And when you live in a town with all four seasons, like you either do it or you're inside. And so, the outdoors just brought so much joy to me, especially in those postpartum years and toddler years through having all three of my kids. And so, yeah, it became second nature as to, shifting from, this is something that I like to do, or I see people doing this, to, this is a big part of who we are and it brings us a lot of joy as a family. So we're going to commit to this and make it something that we do, whether I see people that look like me out here or not.
And so at what point was the transition from like just doing it with your family to now documenting it and sharing it with the world?
Yeah, so I started She Colors Nature in 2019, very early on. And it was just a passion project. Like, I was just like, I recognize that I don't see other Black, Indigenous, and people of color in the outdoors. I would love to network with other people that are out here doing this. Like, I know they're out there. Maybe they're not just, in my neighborhood, but I know these people are out here. I can't just be the only one. And so I started writing about it and, sharing what our family likes to do. I think we were on a trip in Idaho camping, and my husband and I were like, we should share this. Like, I feel like we could find some community and really just dig into like what it means to be a mother, a Black mother who gets outside. And so yeah, it was very organic and authentic. I was just sharing about our experiences and encouraging and drawing other people to get outdoors. I was met with so many different things, like Black, Indigenous people saying, "Hey, I'm here and I'm in this location and I love to do this and your story resonates with me," and all of these things, to, like people who are already in this space of advocacy saying, like, it's not that simple. We can't just like ask Black people to just get outside. There's a lot more to this, which was actually helpful. I didn't see it as helpful then. I kind of saw it as like a, hey, I'm just trying to, do good here. But I think now that I've been at this for a while, I recognize the importance of, um, there are barriers to access and getting into the outdoors, and not everybody has, 5 minutes proximity to nature everywhere they turn. And so, yeah, I think my language has turned and shifted a lot since day one, but we've also been through a worldwide pandemic and protesting. And that's kind of 2020 was when everything started picking up as far as like numbers growing around She Colors Nature. A lot of people were called to diversify their feed and diversify the outdoors and, diversify this, diversify that. And so that being a buzzword, I kind of funneled my platform into all of these eyes and different people and community, which was a blessing and a curse at the same time.
So I'm curious to hear the curse side of that, because obviously, you had really good intentions to begin with. Would you have expected to have like grown this quickly and have created this big of an impact? And I guess what are the blessings and curses that you're finding?
Well, yeah, so with She Colors Nature, I think the blessing is the community. Like I was just telling you and sharing about my Color the Trails trip, taking my first trip to Canada and, snowboarding in Whistler with a group of Black and brown and Indigenous people. I would have never known what they were doing, or that there were even communities like that had I not put myself out there. The blessing has definitely been the networking and the community and the connections that I've made to other Black, Indigenous, and people of color who love to get outside. The blessing is also being the representation for future generations, especially my own kids right here in my own house. And I would say, that was my major mission and my purpose, setting out from the beginning, is to just make sure that my own kids know that they belong in the outdoors and adventure sports. And that is absolutely like box checked. Like that is
Yeah.
not even a problem. Like they are so confident and cool and collected. They just love being outdoors and are knowledgeable, and
Amazing.
yeah, nobody can mess with them, right? That's like not a thing. So I love that has been such a blessing to our family and to my kids. And beyond that, on the other end would be the curse. Like my platform is definitely a space where I have to show up in a way that sometimes feels a little disingenuous to me on the day to day. Like I feel a lot of joy a lot of the time in the outdoors, and I some people, it's like this toxic positivity comes to my mind. Like I'm just a very overall positive person. Like I'm spiritual, I have faith. And so getting outdoors has just kind of amplified all of that. Like I most of the time I'm just pleasant and happy. And so when I come into this advocacy space of, having to navigate what is going on in the world and politics and all this stuff, it kind of shifts me a little bit to this space of like, well, I really don't want to be here. I just want to share about how happy everything is going on and like the joy of being a Black woman in the outdoors and highlight that. But like, I don't know, the algorithm hates that. The algorithm doesn't want to see my joy, right? And so it's really kind of difficult sometimes to be in this platform of having so many followers, and I'm still just like a little micro influencer, right? It's not that many compared to other people, but
Right.
it is something. And so showing up genuinely is often difficult, and navigating the space of, when I started, I'm like, oh yeah, 5,000 followers, like that's my jam. Like I can chat with 5,000 people and have this like little community. And then when it grew, it was like, I don't know who's even here, like I don't feel like this deep connection with everybody. And so, just navigating that is a little bit more difficult, which is really important for me to be able to be in person with people, and doing things like this and being on, podcasts and actually communicating and talking with real people is life-giving for me, because then I'm like, okay, we can talk about the joyful things and we can share in each other's joy and not have to be mitigated and guided by this algorithm that really does not want to see Black joy in the outdoors.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
blessing and a curse.
Yeah. So I guess just like now the amount of followers that you have, there's like so much more pressure, right? To consistently show up. But then, yeah, I can understand like the feeling of community kind of dwindling a little bit because there's so many people, with 5,000 followers, you feel like you can connect with all of them, if you have to. And whereas you're at like 94,000 followers now. And so it must be hard. Like it's amazing because you've obviously touched that many people's lives and you're impacting that many people. But I'm sure it comes with its own pressures and stresses. But I commend you. You're doing an incredible job, sharing the adventures and all the things you're learning. You've really embraced winter, I'm noticing.
Don't even get me started. Don't even get me started. This is going to be the whole podcast now, okay? Because like I said, I grew up. I live in a rural town, and we have harsh winters. Like we are right outside of ski passes and resorts and little ski hills, and so in the winter, my kids were, the little toddlers that we would just like strap them to things and like make a hill with shovels and like push them down and just, see them go. And
Yeah.
so going from that, like that's really hard work. Like getting outside with like little kids, and you're just like
Yeah.
trying to get them to this place of like riding as a family. So this year is the first year that I'm not pregnant. I'm not gonna be pregnant. Like there's just no, I'm like a whole person again.
Right.
And all my kids are like walking and talking and whatnot. So but they're also snowboarding. Like my two older kiddos that you probably have seen the most, they are snowboarding. Like we've been able to go out riding together and chairlifts and navigating and like having fun. And I don't know, I'm like, wow, we made it. Like we made it out of that, like the dark times, the hard times. And so being on the other side of that, yeah, I'm like, ooh, I could have like 2 more months of snow. Like I understand. Looking back, I used to look at those people who were like, oh, spring, I really just want to ski more. I'm like, you're insane.
Yeah.
But now I am that person. I keep looking in the mirror like, who am I? Who are you? Who is she? Because I could do it. I'm like, if there was 2 more months of like really good snow, I would be okay with that. Like I'm
Wow.
out Nordic skiing and I'm just like getting to a place where I feel comfortable navigating my snowboard. I'm like having days out where I'm not falling, and like I don't know, there's not really much that beats that. And then again, yeah, being able to do it as a whole family unit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So winter's
Wow.
pretty cool.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, I'm not a winter person. I try really hard to embrace it. I don't ski or snowboard. I've tried like cross country skiing, but I think the big barrier for me is getting the kids out because I'm with the kids, unless they're in school, which means it's a business day for me. I'm not really going outside without the kids ever. And so it's so hard to get them bundled up and maintain the level of excitement that I need to get out there because by the time both of them are warm, I'm like exhausted and I want to just like take a nap.
Yes. My days
I
outside with my kids versus like when I get a morning to myself are night and day. But I
Yeah.
feel like the times that I do get a moment just for myself, makes those times with my kids where you're just like bundling them up and you're sweating and you're just like, am I ever going to actually be outside?
Yeah,
It makes that those days worth it.
totally.
Yeah.
And I
I hate-
think also having them cooped up in the house all day is worse and more stressful than the short period of time it takes you to get them bundled up to get outside.
Yes, yes. That is so much of juggling. Like my youngest is 2, and so much of like juggling my work and creating content and, all of the other things that we do with cleaning and feeding and
Hmm.
all of the things. The list goes on and on. I'm like, you know what? The work can wait because I'm not gonna get anything done with him right now. He needs to go outside. And maybe I do too. So, yes, like my ethos is absolutely like 30 minutes outside. My kids, we are not a homeschool family, so my kids do go to public school. And so, a lot of that ethos of getting 30 minutes outside with the older kids has shifted a bit. Like I kind of rely heavily on our school system to do the recess and
Hmm.
PE outside. And so like that is their 30 minutes outside. And then if we come home and there's not a lot of homework and we're also team sports family. So if there's not activities or other things going on, then we'll like take a family walk or just like go outside and ride bikes and like play basketball in the driveway. But yeah, it's not always big adventures, right? A lot of the time
Right.
it is just that day to day, like playing in the backyard or walking around our local neighborhood or going to the park or just being outside as a family and just really being intentional about that 30 minutes. Like
Yeah.
sometimes I even set a timer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
really important. Well, it kind of brings me back to what you said at the beginning of like, however we get outside is adequate, because I think that there's this big expectation that if I'm not going on like a big adventure, or like a big hike or going in the backcountry, whatever it may be, that you're not kind of like keeping up with the other people who are doing that. And the fact is just any way you get outside is good. So on your day to day, you're not doing these big adventures. We have work, school, extracurriculars, whatever it may be. And so just going for a walk, going to the park, going in the backyard is enough. And I think it's really important to say that. So I appreciate that you mentioned that right at the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. There's all studies that show, that there's really no difference between the benefits that you get when you're just like in your backyard barefoot on the grass versus like in the forest backpacking for 4 days in a row.
Right.
Like I know and understand that there are some people who are, type 2 fun where you need to get your fill going fast or going hard and, doing all of that, which is fine. And, there are parts of me in there somewhere where I do need that as well. But for the most part, like that's not what fills my cup. I also just like to, look for mushrooms or go outside and listen to the bird songs. Like that is a big part of, what's important to me for connecting with nature and
Yeah.
just making sure that I have a reciprocal relationship with the environment that I'm in and around. Yeah, and my kids, they definitely love to really get amped and run around and do things that requires a little more sport or attention. But for the most part, like they just are dilly-dalliers. Like they love to just, oh, we get to go on a hike, but really they know that means like we might go a mile, we might go
Right.
half a mile, but we're gonna see a lot of really cool stuff and mom's gonna make it really fun and enjoyable. And like those are the core memories that we have of the spaces that we revisit over and over. So it's really great. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So just like slowing down and connecting, that's really the most important part. And so are your kids like super excited to get out on these adventures? Is there any, do you have to coax them at all or are they right into it with you?
Yeah, so my oldest is 12, my middle is 8, and then I have a 2. So we are like the whole gamut, right? I'm like in this adolescent stage. I'm also like 8-year-olds. They're so great. Their minds are beautiful. Like they are just like really imaginative still and creative and fun. And I call my middle kiddo the mad scientist. Sometimes she'll just come home with an idea, and my house is all of a sudden just like glitter and rainbows and things are all over the place. And then I have a toddler, right? Which is also they are their own little
Yeah.
type of human. So he'll be 2 on Sunday. And I would say because we started doing this from the beginning, even before She Colors Nature, I was taking my kids outside and getting into the outdoors and hiking and camping. My husband and I, when we got married, we just like borrowed some things from his parents and like went to the Goodwill and like makeshift our camp gear, and we were always going camping from the beginning. And so I think because this is inherently a part of who they are, they don't know any different, right? So even, all three of them have been camping when they were 6 months old, and like, learned to ride a bike, and that was like how we got around our town, floating the river. All of that stuff is like inherently a part of who they were from the beginning. And so that makes a huge difference. There's not a lot of coaxing or bribery that needs to happen. Like they
Yeah.
know and understand, right, from the she colors nature part, like the importance of getting outside. Um, and it is a part of who they are. So they actually love doing the things that we do. I often say, like, yes, I am the driver of who, like, gets them all of the gear that they need to do the things that they do, but they're often like, hey, when are we going to go camping? Hey, I want to float the river again. Hey, mom, I need my mountain bike pumped up. Like
Hmm.
now they're capable and able to like voice the things that they want to do. And oftentimes it is related to the outdoors because, again, we live in a nature rich area, and they know, yeah, some of these things are just a huge privilege to be able to get to do. So they really do love it. My oldest, again, 12, adolescent, I will say we were experiencing some friction. We are experiencing some mayday, mayday. Like, what, you don't want to go where? Why? Honey, this is like what we do. This is who we are. No, mom, I'm good. If I can't bring a friend, I'm not interested. Okay, so now we're like shifting a little bit to like,
Hmm.
okay, well, if you bring, Sally from down the street, then do you want to go hiking? Or, can we bring a friend if we go camping this year? So things are starting to shift a little bit.
Hmm.
Who she is very much her friendships. She's a social being. It's beautiful. It's like my husband and I don't definitely relate. We're very much the same. So yeah, I would say it'll be fun, kind of, and I thought about this with my content with She Colors Nature because so many outdoor influencers or mothers who get outside with kids have like babies, and they're like, oh, this is so fun. I'm an expert now. This is how you get outside. And I'm just like, y'all just wait,
Yeah.
okay? Because wait till like it changes, it shifts every year. I'm like, okay, what are we gonna get into now, and then as you add more kids to your family and whatnot, it just shifts and changes. And so I love this question because I think that it needs more thought and attention because yes, like I don't have to bribe them, I don't have to coax them, there's not a lot of that, but things are definitely changing, as far as like as they get older. And I love kind of fast forwarding my brain and imagining what it's going to be like when they are my age, 27, 30. I'm actually 35. But, when we're a little bit older and what are they going to be doing? What ways are they going to be connecting to nature? Like how are they going to find solace in relationship to the outdoors? Will they be mostly mountain biking? Will they ever even snowboard when they're older? Like, like all of these things that we're doing now, I love to imagine them as adults, and just really grateful to know that they had this foundation so that they can go out and choose and not have to, be like me as a 35-year-old human that's like taking snowboard lessons, and it's harder when you're older.
Big time. Yeah.
I absolutely advocate for doing stuff when you're older and trying new things and getting out there because, this is the youngest I will ever be, right? So it's now or never. But it is different. It is definitely something that I think about all the time, to where I'm just like looking at my kids like, y'all are so lucky. You have no, I
Yeah.
mean, they have an idea, but like I'm just like, I did not grow up like this. Like we are not the same. So I don't know. Even when they ask me like, "Oh, mom, what were you a good snowboarder when you were 10?" It's like, "Honey,
What was snowboarding? Yeah.
what was snowboarding? Actually, what was snow?" Like, I literally didn't even see snow for the first time until I was like 9 or 10. We were living in San Diego. That was not a thing. And so, like, going to Boston and visiting family on the East Coast, I was just like, this like white stuff is falling from the sky for the first time. So,
Right.
like, really giving that to them and having them like reorient themselves around like
Hmm.
what life was like for mom when we were younger, not the same. So,
No.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty funny.
Yeah, well, it's nice that they're being exposed to it at such a young age, but like it is harder to learn things when you're older. I mean, I can't imagine even snowboarding now because my knees. I'm just so afraid of injuring my knees. So I'm like, I think that's out of the cards for me.
Oh my
So,
goodness.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can ice and heat pack and do all of those things, but at the end of
Yeah.
the day, is it worth it?
Yeah.
People talk about the first 3 days of snowboarding are the hardest. I was like, You mean the first 3 years? Like
Right.
my first 3 years of snowboarding was so difficult. Granted, I didn't take a lesson, but yeah,
Okay.
I'm like, take a
You're
lesson.
a
Those are,
self-learner.
yes, I'm a self-learner.
Okay.
And, from that, so many bad habits. But now that I'm like, I've taken a couple lessons, gone up consistently, like it really does just change the whole experience for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I just wanted to kind of touch on you mentioned, these outdoor influencers who are moms, all their kids are young, like really young. And so I kind of feel like I'm that person because I have Wesley who is going to be 7 this year, but because of his disabilities, things haven't changed as far as he's not like a flight risk, whereas my 3-year-old now is a total flight risk. If we're outside, he is gone, and so it's very hard for me to like keep up with him with Wesley. But each year, like, you're camping in the summer, so you figure everything out for that year when your baby is 1. And then next time you go camping, well, your baby's 2, it's a whole different being. And then next time you go camping after that, they're 3, again, a whole different being. So people are asking me like, well, what do you use, like, can you give advice on this? I'm like, well, last summer this worked for me, and this is the tools we used, but it's going to be different this year because he's way bigger. He has attitude. He talks back to me. He's very fast at running. Like 2 years ago, he fit in a little front carrier and didn't talk, So it's like now your daughter's 12 and now she wants to be with her friends all the time, and it's so funny how every year is so different and it's constant evolving.
Yeah. But isn't that also like the beauty of it too? Like
Mhm.
I just even like get chills like even thinking about how, as mothers, we are constantly evolving and constantly changing both mentally, emotionally, physically. Like we are just so amazing in that sense. Like we are constantly having to adapt to raising these little humans, and especially you, with Wesley, like that is a ball game that I am not, versed in. And I just think that like what you do is way underrated as far as just continuing to get your kids outside and making that a priority. But man, I giggle when you said that your that your youngest is just fast. He's just so fast because sometimes I'm like, if I maybe I just won't put shoes on them because
Right.
sometimes I
Nope.
slow them down or trip them up just enough so that I can keep up. But then it just backfires and actually they're faster. So yeah, I don't know. Camping this next season, I am thinking about it sooner because last season, like you said, he was little and tiny, and we actually just brought a little like pack and play and he just stayed there while he slept. But now he barely fits in that thing. And I'm just like, well, okay, so now it's back to the drawing board. I need to figure out what works, maybe now that my oldest is older, maybe they'll sleep in give us some more space and like they can set up their own tent and we can sleep separately. I don't know, just
I know.
thoughts.
Yeah.
Not really sure what it'll look like, but it'll be fun trying to figure it out.
Right, exactly. It's like we're never going to be an expert at camping with like a 1-year-old or a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old because it's literally different each year. What worked for me, but somebody else probably has a better way of doing it. I don't know, but I didn't have a chance to try it because there was only the summer, that one summer, and then that's it, right? So, anyways, it's just so interesting. I wanted to talk to you. We kind of briefly chatted about it before we started recording, but you mentioned that you recently cut off all your hair. And one thing, yes, one thing that I like always remember about you, when I think of you, I always remember you talking about protective hairstyles, and which was something I'm not good at, but I'm terrible at. My hair is always one gigantic rat's nest after a canoe trip. It either is in 2 braids like it is now or out. Because, like you, I don't live close to a hair salon that is capable of managing my type of hair or braiding it. So I'm curious, what was the ultimate decision to cut off your hair?
Yeah, my hair journey goes far back. Like I was a teenager that used relaxer on my hair. Like I straightened it like consistently. My mom, there were 3 girls in our house, and so I think she was just tired. Like, y'all, everybody sit down, we're relaxing your hair, just chemicals, chemicals, chemicals.
Yeah.
And she has since said sorry for that. We've healed and moved on. But now that I have had, autonomy over my own hair, and now I have daughters, granted they're mixed, and so their hair is a little more gentle than mine, but like still requires a lot of love and attention and time. Okay. let's highlight the word time. Okay, I'm going to say it louder. Time. That has been my deciding factor for almost everything because as a mom, we don't have a lot of that. Like you can't buy that, right? And so, and I have a little bit of a hard time managing my time. And so I'm just like, I just want to be outside all the time. And so that's a little bit difficult because as a black woman, like my hair has been just like this stumbling block for so long. And so like since living in this rural community, like I've been trying to have a better relationship with my hair. Like I stopped relaxing it, over a decade ago. And I started doing protective styles. So I would wear it in twists a lot. I started doing twists and two-strand twists. I started, teaching myself in 2020, COVID locked up. I was just like, I'm going to teach myself how to braid. So I was like YouTubing and working on cornrows and doing all this stuff. So doing it, but not doing it well. And so because I wasn't doing it well, it was taking up so much time, not to mention I was always the last person to get my hair done because I have to have my kids looking good. So
Mm-hmm.
I would do their hair, then I would do my, other daughter's hair, and then it's like finally I get to mom's and my hands are tired. I'm tired, like I don't want to do hair, but I don't know. You can look back through my Instagram. I had long hair. Like it was like past my chest, curly. So like getting it wet, it was just like I don't know, washing it, conditioning it, the whole thing. Like it would take me a full day,
Mm-hmm.
from the pre-shampoo to the shampoo to the conditioner to the styling. Too much time. Like that was too much time. I don't know what possessed me, but in my head I was like, wow, I my hair can be long. My hair can be healthy. Like look at this, mom. We don't have to relax it, Like it was
Right.
just kind of like I want to show myself that I can have good hair, right? And so I did that for a while, many years, but it just took up so much time. And like I literally would like be in the bathroom just like sobbing. Like
Mm-hmm.
I could be doing something else right now. Like I know that I need to put my hair in protective styles because I'm active, I'm working out, I'm like sweating all the time, I'm going outside, like I don't want twigs. And so I would just do it. I would just do it. And sometimes, my mom would jump in every once in a while. My mom lives where I live. She moved to be closer to us and my family. And so she would help me sometimes, but I almost felt bad like asking. Like I know that you spent your whole life doing our hair. Like I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
ask you as an adult to come over here and do my hair. So year after year, I would just think like, gosh, if I just cut it short, like it would be so much easier. And then I saw my younger sister, like she cut her hair short, like it's gone. Like she just like made the trip and cut it off. And I was just like, dang, that looks nice. Like that looks
Yes.
easy. That looks fun and cute and spunky. And so, I don't know. It was just more of me doing that thing that black women do, like making excuses like, I don't, my hair somehow gives me value, or, you know, I don't even know. It was just like this mental game that I was playing for so long. And in the end, I was just like, I have too many kids up in here to be spending 8 hours
Mm-hmm.
taking care of my hair. And so really, it was just like finding the right person. The right person came to town, and I was just like, "What can you do? Like, do you feel comfortable cutting my hair?" Like, and I was at the point where it was just like, I don't have any connection to this stuff. Like, I just need you to cut it off. And so, yeah, it was. I mean, not even that long ago. It's probably been like 5 months, maybe. And so,
Okay.
I think my thing was like, is it going to be easier or is it going to be tougher to have shorter hair? Because you have to actually do it. There is that. Like I'm not really sure what I'm doing. I have this like asymmetrical, like long in the front, like short in the back kind of thing. It's super cute when I actually do it, but it is work when I actually go to do it. But it's
Mm-hmm.
not like this day to day 8 hour long. Like I can like wash and condition in like 20 minutes. So
Right.
I love that for me. I love that for like my beanie season. I don't know what I'm gonna do in the summer. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it in the summer. I actually might cut more off. That's kind of where I'm at. Like, I'm just
Yeah.
like in this portion of my hair journey where I'm okay with it being short. And I think that there is, society says like your femininity has to be tied to like this European Western way
Mm-hmm.
of thinking as far as like having long hair, and the beauty standards are just steeped in whiteness. And
Mm-hmm.
I am just like at this point in my life where I am so past that, like so over it. And so, yeah, I don't know. I'm like really loving like entangling my femininity in with my short hair. That
Mm-hmm.
has been like a really cool part of what I do. And also, yeah, I go outside all the time and I just really
Yeah.
cannot be spending my time doing braiding it and twisting it and worrying about it. Even like
Mhm.
between my hair days, I would be worrying about my hair. And that sucked for a long time.
Mhm.
So like
Mhm.
this like freeing up my brain space away from my hair has really just like elevated, I don't know, my joy and wellness and just like my overall, yeah, relationship with my hair has just been a lot better.
Oh, good. Good. I'm
Yeah.
glad to hear that. Yeah, and there's probably, I don't know if this affects you as much, but because you have to be present on social media and in front of a camera, my struggle is like if I'm not having doing my hair all the time or whatever it is, like if I haven't just done it today, then it's a giant frisball and I will go to jump on my stories and I'm like, I can't. I can't look like this. I look like I just rolled out of bed because it is work. It's time. I have to like plan it and wet it down. I can't just be like run a brush through it. It's
Yeah.
much more than that. So,
But I think we need
yeah.
to normalize jumping on our stories just as we are.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I
Like as
agree.
Black women, I'm like sometimes I'm just like I wake up and I'm like I got stuff I want to say, but
Yeah.
I'm in my bonnet, in my robe, and like I don't know what these people are going to think about me. But I just think we need to normalize like coming as we are because there are people who do that and I'm just like, yes. I'm not thinking about
Hmm.
what you look like. I'm thinking about what you're saying, the
Yeah.
quality of your content, not necessarily if you're wearing mascara, right? Like, I don't
Yeah.
know, just as human beings, I think we really need to normalize just like coming as we are. And sometimes as Black and brown women, yeah, we don't have fresh cornrows every day. Like,
No.
that's just not a thing. So, I don't know. I think there's so much beauty in that for sure.
Yeah.
If you do it, I'll do
Awesome.
it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I will. I do. I do. And I'm like, I should probably stop doing this, but also I'm too lazy to do anything else about it. So I'd rather just be like, listen, this is what I look like. So take it or leave it. But I did do my hair for this podcast. So you are working with a lot of brands. I think the main one is Bronco. How long have you been with Bronco now?
I've been working as a Team Bronco ambassador for the last year and a half.
Okay, that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. So I'm curious because obviously it's important to you that the brands that you work with hold the same values. So what questions do you pose to them or how do you kind of evaluate whether they're genuinely committed to diversity in the outdoors and are going to align with your values?
Yeah. So this one is a hard one. This one's a hard one
That's fair.
for right now, where we are, I think, because, we are in a place where, She Colors Nature was birthed in this era of like diversity, equity, inclusion, Black Lives Matter, like we need to step up and stand out. And so coming into this work, before I even had any brand partners or brand deals, like those were my standards. Like I'm not just working with anybody. I want to make sure that you are a brand that is kind to the environment. If you are Black, Indigenous, and person of color who owns a business, in the outdoor space, like we can work together. That's like yes and amen. Like I would love to work with you. And then any outdoor brands who are, showing and showcasing representation and making sure that, you know, your where you put your money is backing up your statement of we support diversity, equity, and inclusion. So ups and downs with lots of different brands, I think, over the years. And it's really difficult. I actually was just talking with a founder of an organization in Canada where you are that I was just sharing with you about going to Whistler and going to Color the Slopes. And she was just like validating my thoughts of like, there are no quote unquote like good brands, right? Most of these brands that were birthed in the outdoor industry speak to people and communities in the outdoor industry that are very white centric, CEOs that are white centric, board members that are white centric. Like they can try and divest into marginalized communities and do their best in creating a statement and working with trying to better what it looks like on the outside as diversity, equity, and inclusion. But like as we're seeing now, it is a lot easier for them to pull out of that and like go back to their old ways than it is for them to do something that feels unnatural to them, which supporting people like me and communities of color, like it is unnatural for them because like they are not from and of the community. And so yeah, I have really enjoyed working with a lot of different brands, Ford being one of them, REI being another one of them. The list kind of goes on and on. But it really does feel like when you break it down on paper, there will always be a reason why I shouldn't work with somebody, or, like
Right.
they're not upholding their commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Under this new administration in America, they are like aligning with a lot of the things that this man is aligning with. And so,
Mhm.
because that is easier. Like we did this, we tried this, maybe we're spending more money than we are comfortable with, and so now we're going to go back to our old ways because that was
Mhm.
easier.
Right.
And maybe there's brands who are not upholding their end of the deal of being more sustainable or environmentally friendly. Maybe they're aligning with big oil. Like the list goes on and on and on. But if you dig into every single brand, any outdoor brand, like you will find something that you're like, oh, that just doesn't sit right. Like, what are we
Mhm.
doing here? And so it is difficult. I bring a level of I guess, sifting through who I work with to my inbox, as far as like, people are always throwing like gifting. I want to gift you this, I want to gift you that. And I'm
Mhm.
just like, we are a family of five. I don't need your gift. Like, this is too much stuff. I'm not into overconsumption. I'm not into, just like taking. I would much rather give. So I always kind of preface those emails with, I know a lot of nonprofit organizations that would love some swag bags for this or that programming or this or that. And so, shifting that conversation to helping a community of color. I don't need your gift, but I know
Right.
somebody who could. That is always helpful, and that has been very lucrative in connecting with people and making sure brands know, like, I don't need your gift, but somebody else might.
Mhm.
um, and then also, yeah, like people who are, as far as like the tourism industry, and, oh, come here or try this or go there, or we'll pay for you to come out. It's like, I like that doesn't really support my mission, but I know a community, an organization who would love to do their woofer programming or their airy programming, and do their
Mhm.
backcountry safety classes with you, and be able to host people and have them stay in your, camper vans or whatever they're offering. It's just like,
Mhm.
I don't need it, but I know a community who does, and divesting that, like just really being like, I'm not interested, but this
Right.
is my mission and vision, and this is how you can align with it.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, sometimes my capacity is just not there, right? Just talking about time as well. Like, no, I don't want to work with you, but if you're ever interested in having a bigger conversation around diversity and equity and what that looks like for your business in the outdoors, come into my inbox again and we can have a
Mhm.
conversation. But I don't want to like sell your tent. I'm
Right.
not really interested in that. So still navigating and trying to find a balance in all of the brand partnerships and working with people, because honestly, most of the people that I've worked with, it's like I can always dig up and find something in their company that I do
Sure.
not align with and I'm not cool with. But if I never went out on the limb and, you know, got my seat at the table, then I feel like I wouldn't be able to be a voice for other people or
Yeah.
insert names in the room for other people. And so sometimes I just work with people to just be like, okay, I need this relationship with you because you're a big name, or you're doing this, or you could, get me grant funding for this film, or get me grant funding for this programming that's happening over here. So
Mhm.
a lot of the work is just really jumping hoops and trying to find a way to work with brands that are good enough, right? They're not
Mhm.
great, but they're good enough. And so, yeah, that's a lot of what I do for work, is just navigating the brands that I want to stick my name alongside and partner
Mhm.
with, but just knowing that none of them are going to be doing and checking all of the boxes as far as
Mhm.
my criteria, unfortunately.
Yeah. And hoping, I guess, that they are willing to do the work to kind of get there at least too, right?
Yeah, and establishing a relationship and a foundation with the people who I know will stick their neck out on the line for me when it comes time.
Mhm.
So that's
Yeah.
that's where I'm at, and it feels like a good place to be, for sure.
Yeah. Good. What advice would you give to Black women who are looking to get out on adventures, in any season, but just kind of are afraid to get started, don't know how to get started, might not have the gear? What would you tell them?
Yeah, I think that at this point, my answer to this question is like, if you have a desire, right? Because it starts with a desire. You see somebody camping and you're like, that looks kind of fun. I might like that. Or see somebody mountain biking or hiking or just spending more time in the outdoors with friends. If the desire is there, but you have that barrier mentally, and whether you're like me and you grew up where like people were telling me, white people do this kind of stuff, black people don't camp, black people don't hike, black people don't do this and this and this. The list goes on. I would say that if you have a desire in your heart to try to be outdoors more, that is enough. Like, that is adequate enough. I also would recommend finding communities of color to start with because there is so much power in being around other Black, Indigenous, and people of color in the outdoors when you get started. Because sometimes when you go into those really homogenous spaces and really white centered places who are not doing the work and you don't feel safe or protected in a space, that'll be enough to make you never want to go back or never want to try it. And that will be your marker, your mental marker for what that thing is like. Trying camping and you're just like, you are treated unkindly in whatever way, or everybody's staring at you, this or that. That's how you're going to think of camping. That's what you're going to associate camping with. Like, I don't want to go camping. Like, I don't want to be stared at. I don't want to be made a spectacle. But if you find a community of color who's getting outdoors and going and hosting this camping retreat, or you go camping with just another group of Black women, like, that is unmistakably like the best feeling, and just like reinserting this narrative that like I belong and we're learning together and it's okay if I fail, and camping is not only for white people, right? It's
Mhm.
like, what are the stories that we're telling each other, and what are the stories that we're telling, everybody on the outside as well. So I just think that there is an invaluable piece to learning something new or going into a new space with other people that look like you, finding an affinity group who is doing the things that you love to do. And from She Colors Nature, I have so many recommendations all over the world that I could literally just keep sharing because, what I found is when I started putting myself out there, I am a Black woman that loves to do this, insert whatever it was like, there's someone over in Utah doing the same thing. There's someone in Colorado doing the same thing, and they're just like, hey, and they're willing to travel and wanting to get out and also know of a community group that's doing these things in your area.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I kind of just love to dismiss the idea that we don't belong, and really welcome the idea of getting out with other people who look like us and nurturing that space and growing community. And then if that's not accessible to you, because I know sometimes that it's not, and some people are just, in a place where maybe you want to try it by yourself, and you are like me, where you're just like, I'm not waiting for someone. I'm not, I can't always do that. That's just not my life. I'm just going to do it myself. If you have kind of that spirit to be able to do that, yeah, go for it. Like, it is immensely needed right now in a time and era where we're lacking in joy, and we're over anxious, and people are depressed, and we don't know how to communicate, and we're always on our phones, and we're always sitting at a computer. The best reversal for all of those things, or at least, working towards a life that's more centered around joy, is nature. She's been around since day one. I just think
Mhm.
that, like, that's it. What do you need? The doctor says you need to go outside. You need to touch some grass.
Right.
Like, that is what we all need. And so, yeah, I think that finding community is number one. And if you can't find that, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. You should still try and do it on your own. Definitely.
And like you said, hiking is the gateway drug. So maybe just start by going for a walk and see what happens from there.
Yeah, I read this thing the other day that was like, her tag was, I started going on daily micro adventures and it changed my brain chemistry. Like, and I'm like a total poster board for that. Like, I
Mhm.
started going outside 30 minutes a day, and it has shifted the way that I view the world, the way that I see other human beings, the way that I interact with my children, the way that I want to be in community. Like, it has changed my brain chemistry. And so, I don't know. There's something to it for sure. It
Yeah,
it definitely
absolutely.
is. There's something so much to it. Yeah, I love it.
All right. So I'm curious what your next projects are. Can you share what's coming up for She Colors Nature?
So, just as far as projects go, I am in this pause for doing anything outside of my capacity. I feel like, as far as She Colors Natures go, right now, I'm trying to navigate again. Like what brands I want to work with, who I'm going to partner with as far as like 2025 messaging. What do I want that messaging to be? And yeah, what brand names do I want to be alongside me for the ride? I don't have any, I've done films and all kinds of things. I at this point, honestly, in my little planner that I have, I want to go and volunteer and be someone who is helping at a nonprofit or organization that supports Black, Indigenous, and people of color who gets outdoors. I don't know what those are going to be yet, but I want to find some and do that work. She Colors Nature is not a nonprofit. We are not getting people outdoors. It is just me and, I create content and host a platform that is representation in the outdoors. But I would like to go and help and be someone who is working alongside another organizer who is doing the work, because I know there are so many out there that are doing the work and they often are working on small teams with minimal sponsorship money and funding. So yeah, just being in the community and attending things and making sure that I'm sharing about it on my Instagram and yeah, lending a hand where it's needed.
Okay. Awesome. I like that. And where can people find you and support you online?
Yeah, so my main way of communicating with the world is She Colors Nature, and it's actually on Instagram. It's at she_colors nature. Yeah, I would love to connect with you if you're listening to this and you have questions, or if you have concerns, or if you just want to be in the community. I would love to, yeah, communicate with you. Every year, every about this time, I kind of do a call for like who's going to be getting outside with us every day, 30 minutes a day, and just like a roll call as far as just like checking in and having a little bit of accountability. I know there's so many different challenges and things out there, like 1,000 hours outside or the 52 hike challenge, which I think is great, right? Again, if you're a Black, Indigenous, or woman of color and you're like, I just don't have any motivation, those are really great organizations that you can connect with and get like fun work books and like different things to keep tracked in your calendar of like, where have I been? Where am I going? That's a really fun way to engage in the outdoors too. But for me, it's just like, okay, I'm on Instagram, you're on Instagram. If we're going to be here, like, let's also like hold each other accountable for getting outside 30 minutes a day and see where we're at the end of the year as more joyful and nourished human beings. So yeah, I would love to connect with everybody on Instagram. That would be great.
Okay. And that's colors, the American spelling, COLORS. No U in there. So, but I will add that to the description.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. And then last but not least, I have 5 very quick rapid fire questions for you just for fun. What is your favorite trail snack?
I mean, if I get to choose
Yeah.
anything, okay. So I have two. I have two. This is not rapid fire because I talk too much. But the first one would be a boiled egg with Johnny's seasoning on it. Okay, the Johnny's
Okay.
seasoning, made in Tacoma, Washington. Shout out! It's so good. Like that's like so delicious. If I can remember to boil my eggs before my hikes. But another one that I've done that's like a super good treat, which barely ever happens because I'm a mom of three. But like a maple donut with bacon. Just
My goodness.
it's so good. Yeah. That would be my like if I could choose anything, that would be it.
Nice. Okay. I like that. What is one piece of outdoor gear, and I always say luxury outdoor gear, that you can't live without? So, not a necessity on a camping trip
Camping.
or hiking, whatever. It's just like a luxury gear that you just love to take with you.
I love my hammock.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like heavy and probably not necessary, but I love my hammock. And my hammock has brought my kids on camping trips so much joy. Like, it is crazy how many hours a child can sit in a hammock and flip around or spin around or just lay in there like a cocoon, a butterfly in a cocoon,
Yeah.
and just like chit chat the day away with their siblings. It is like so fun. So, it is a luxury. It's not needed, but I will always and forever try and bring a hammock wherever I go.
Okay. Favorite national park or outdoor space?
I would say my favorite national park in Washington, there's three of them: the North Cascades, the Olympic on the Olympic Peninsula, and then Mount Rainier, Mount Tahoma. And right now, my favorite of those is definitely the North Cascades. Like, it just is so immense, and the mountains are unmatched as far as I've seen. If I'm going somewhere far, I'm probably going to go hit the North Cascades. And you can drive
Okay.
through it. I mean, there's just so many hikes and camping spots that are so untouched and beautiful. North Cascades. Yeah.
Okay. And last question, what is one word to describe yourself in the outdoors?
Oh my gosh, one word.
Just one.
I would say the outdoors just makes me so unhinged sometimes. Like mentally, I'm free.
Hmm.
Emotionally, I'm free and weird and quirky. And I'm like, sometimes I feel like I need to be like mic'd up because the things that are coming out of my mouth, I'm just like, is that me? Did I say that out loud? I hope nobody heard that. Like the freedom to just like talk and be and think and creativity, imagination, like it just all is so unhinged. I love me when I'm outside. Like I
So
just
nice.
think that I'm a pretty cool person when I'm out in nature. And I've had some of the best like meaningful conversations with family and friends when I'm outside because it's just like there's not much holding you back. You're not in walls or, like
Hmm.
strict regimen, just unhinged. It's good.
Okay, I like that. Not what I was expecting, but I like it a lot.
I love it. I've had a lot of time outside, so a lot of time to just think. Like that's the best word
Yeah,
I can think of.
that's great. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me. So nice to chat with you. And yeah, I'll follow along on Instagram as usual.
Yay. Yes. Thank you so much for having me. This was a great conversation. And again, like I just love talking with other Black Indigenous women because it is just like really life-giving in my community where I don't often get to interact with people who look like me. So thank you for
Yeah.
inviting me to this. And I hope, yeah, lots of people listen and come and check it out. And yeah, I just hope your family does well in this next season of life as you're
Thank you.
camping and getting outside and doing all the really hard stuff with kids.
Yeah.
As I know, as you know, it's no place else I'd rather be.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you. We'll talk soon.